So there's a number of trends that are releasing a report today showing what the trends have been for the past decade and what decade ahead. I think what you're going to see in the decade ahead, a lot of med tech, which you've been heavily investing in, fintech, social commerce, and even a rise in B2B, which is really starting to pick up in places like Indonesia.
Right, and what are you expecting there? What are you expecting to see in the ASEAN market? Because I know your focus is on ASEAN and Southeast Asia, but it's really sad to see the virus resurgence there impacting economic recovery, with the kind of restrictions and lockdown measures that have been instituted. What does that mean for your investing style and also, essentially just approaching investment in the region?
Yeah, I mean, with COVID, I mean, this has been global, and it's hitting ASEAN right now with a second wave, just like it hit India a few months ago, US at the end of last year. So it's unfortunate. We're working with our portfolio to support a number of programs in places like Indonesia, but what we're seeing is a lot of tech startups, and this is Zomato, 35x, like in India. A lot of tech startups are actually growing quite strong because if you're doing food delivery, if you're doing telemedicine, we're invested in Allo Doctor, we're invested in Clinic Pintar, which is helping with clinics and giving out vaccinations and testing. So we're seeing a number of these smart tech-enabled sort of startups actually grow under COVID. Same thing with e-commerce and fintech. And so I expect to see much more of that in the year to come.
Right, and more exits as well. I believe there's a boom in IPOs in ASEAN as well.
Yes, that is starting quite a bit of inbound interest from the US. And so SPACs have really put ASEAN on the map. And now it's starting to turn on these later stage investors, private equity, Goodwater, Tiger Global, coming to Southeast Asia, writing quite large checks for the region. So that's also another positive. And so the next decade is going to be a very competitive decade for CEOs. It's, you're going to have to scale from 5 to 5,000 much quicker. It's going to be more competitive, more money. So as VCs, the more that we can do to help in terms of social and human capital, in terms of coaching, that is going to be number one priority for entrepreneurs.
Which instrument do you prefer? Do you prefer to take companies through the IPO route or SPACs?
I think it's still very early. A number of our companies have been approached for SPACs, and many of them have just said not yet. It's a little too early. They weren't planning to go public. Being a private company has its advantages, and they still see a lot of growth ahead. So for a lot of our companies, they see that as something 1, 2, or 3 years away. So they're not just automatically jumping on a SPAC. When they are ready to go public, whether that's a SPAC or a traditional IPO, they'll be making that call. But the inbound interest is really high. There are over 40 SPACs targeting Southeast Asia.